Hello and welcome to the podcast all about becoming a health coach. I'm Megan McCrory, an integrative nutrition health coach in training. And let me tell you, it is not easy doing a podcast in allergy season. So if I sound a little nasally and I don't catch all my sniffles in editing, I'm going to apologize right now. But if I wait any longer to do these podcasts, I'll be too far behind. So let's go with it. Each week, I recap what I'm learning at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition and how I'm applying it to my life. If this is your first time tuning in, again, apologies for the allergies, but I'm happy that you found me, and a very special welcome to you. You may want to go back and listen to the beginning of the podcast series to hear more about my health coaching journey. But for now, let's dive into week 12. Every 10 modules, we have a test. So this week, instead of talking about what I'm learning in the course, I'll be telling you all about the other stuff I'm doing to get set up to become a health coach. So I'll start off by telling you guys that I took the test. It was easy for me. There's a lot of people online that took the test that English is not their native language, and they had struggled a little bit with some of the questions. But for me, I got 30 out of 30 on the first try and didn't take much time to do it, but I did study for it. So I felt pretty good about it going into, and there's plenty of time for people who needed to translate or do other things, look for answers on, in their notes. So now that you know that I'm actually getting benefit from the course since my test went well, let's, start off with the business side of things. So you can run a health coaching business with pen and paper and a telephone, right? You don't really need much more than that. However, it can be really difficult to keep track of everything, especially the more clients that you get. So there are a lot of different systems and platforms you can use to help run your coaching business. For example, you can use email, free cloud storage like Dropbox or Google Drive. There are calendar services and teleconference services and more. And you can basically run your whole business from these free services. But it takes a lot of time to coordinate those systems together. And since I have a full-time job, I was looking for more all-in-one tool that keeps all my business in one space and organized for me. So in episode 6, which was the last episode where we didn't have a module to talk about, I briefly touched on a service that I had discovered called Practice Better. I signed up for the free demo version some time ago and put it back into I'll look at this later bucket, this looks like a really good tool, but I don't have time to look at it now. And, which I have a long list of these things where I'm like, this looks cool, put it on the list. I don't have time to look at it yet. So I should also mention that this Practice Better is not a paid advertiser. I would love that, but they're not. Actually, I just love so far their service. So the other week, I finally had time to sit down and set up more in this system. So the system is a patient side or client side and a practitioner side. And so I set myself up as a client as well, so I could see both sides. And I'm allowed to have 3 clients in the system in order to kind of try it out. So I made, like I said, myself a client, and I also made a friend of mine a client. And the reason I wanted to dive into the system now was because I was ready to start with my first health history session, which I describe health histories in more detail in episode 11. The system itself is really awesome. It has a built-in calendar, session notes, tasks for me and my clients, a journal and other features for the client. You can recommend supplements if you do that. You can set up a whole program within the system, so you can run a group program through it. It also has an integrated chat function. So if your client isn't on Facebook, which a lot of people use Facebook also for messengers, also WhatsApp is pretty ubiquitous. But this way you can kind of keep everything together, and you can so that's great. So it has a chat function, and it also has video conferencing. So it has just so much all within the same system. And they're also coming out with an app version, even though their mobile version is super mobile friendly. So I'm excited also for the app version to see how that goes. Like I said before, I'm very excited about this system. One of the reasons is because if you buy the business, if you actually buy the plan instead of using the demo version, you can actually brand it to your own business, so it looks really seamless. So that's also nice. It just gives that more professional feel to your clients and prospective clients. And I was trying to figure out kind of like how I would utilize this, and would I put, all people in who are prospective clients, even if I'm just sending them a health history in order to like get them a taste of the health history, like a taste of this system while I'm not sure I'm even going to practice with them yet. And I think after I did some playing around, I thought, okay, I think what I'll do is when I have a person who is interested in doing a health history, I will just simply send them a link to the health history. I've put these into Google Forms, and so that way I have the results already in my Google Drive, so I can see when they finished it. So I would send them the link to that independently, and then only after the person has done the health history and we've decided to work together would I make them a client in the Practice Better system. And maybe other people will do this differently, but I thought for me that keeps it cleaner. So I know everybody in the system are people who are paying clients. Now, you can have people who are not in the system use it to schedule a first session. So for example, if it's not somebody I know personally who I've reached out to, and in the future they just go to my website and they find me and they want to work with me or potentially work with me, then they can also just go to this place and like kind of book a session, which is really cool, because they can book, all your free time is listed, they can book a free session, and then everything's done automatically and you can accept that or reject it or whatever you want to do. So I think that the whole thing looks really, really great, and it's really good already, and I think the program is quite young. So I'm really super excited to see how they will continue to make it better as it gets older. So if you're in the process of becoming a health coach or you already have your business established, this system, Practice Better, could really help to organize all your stuff in one space. And again, it is a system that is designed for health and wellness practitioners specifically. So it's tailor-made to this health kind of organization. So one thing I'll just, before I move on to the next topic, one of the things is that a client can go in and record the type of poop they're having. I think that's awesome because I love poop. Poop tells you a lot about a person. And they can say, like, when did they have the poop? What was it like? And all these other things. So I think, this shows you that they're really thinking about all aspects of health and wellness, and they've built these in addition to the fact that you can build your own programs and other things inside. So I will leave a link for that in the show notes, and go check it out. You can always sign up for a free demo and check it out and see if you like it. The next business-related tool that I was exploring in the past weeks is a meal planning tool called That Clean Life. I believe I've seen this tool before, like as an add-on to one of my health apps, but I never really got into it. I never really got into meal planning in general. I have a free account for That Clean Life. Again, this is not a paid advertiser, although that would be awesome. They are... There are advantages basically to getting a business subscription for this meal planning service, such as you can use a bunch of their pre-made meal plans for your clients, and it looks like you've made them yourself, that kind of thing. So it's a really user-friendly system. You can also tweak all the meals. So they have a lot of different recipes that they have on there, but you can add your own recipes and you can tweak them for different kinds of diets, and you can find recipes that also fit different kinds of diets like vegan and gluten-free and dairy-free, et cetera, et cetera. what's nice about a meal plan is that they're really great ways to give away things to entice people to like give you your email address or entice people to come to a workshop event or whatnot. So you can put together a, 1 week sugar-free meal plan to like as a teaser to like your 21-day program or something like that, or 6-week program. So they're really, really great for that respects. It's also pretty easy to set it up. You don't have to spend a lot of time. You can repeat these. You can also use the meal plans for specific clients who you have to give them ideas on how to eat in a different way. Obviously, as a health coach, we're not nutritionists or dietitians, so we're not prescribing this meal plan. But what it is a way to show them the types of meals that they can eat that would support the different initiatives that you're doing with them. Also, you can help your clients understand better how to structure their meals for the week. So if they're not used to cooking, or even if they are used to cooking, like myself, I love to cook, but I'm only really thinking about the meal that I'm cooking right now. But you can help them with meal preps on how to prepare smarter. So like cooking larger portions to have leftovers, or kind of repurposing leftovers into a new meal, or like prepping, like that week you're going to have a lot of chicken, so you prep all your chicken at once, for example. The other nice thing is that you can create really good looking PDFs with great pictures. You can also include a meal plan, or you can just do recipes alone. So no meal plan, but just like here's recipes that you should try type of a thing. They do have like home use subscriptions, so you can do this for yourself. I think it's something like $10 a month or something. But it's really well done because it comes, every time you export this meal plan, there's a grocery shopping list and all kinds of things that you can use. It makes life a little easier depending on what you need it for, right? And I have, like I said, this kind of a free subscription right now to kind of test it out. But I think at some point I would upgrade to the business version, basically to have another offering in my services, like as another way to help people go from one point to the next. So even though we haven't yet learned about the 6-month program through IIN, so that's coming on, right now we just learned about health histories and how to like kind of intake a potential client. And then we would explain the 6-month program to them. So hasn't been explained to us yet. So I'm also would like to learn and I'm exploring other potential revenue streams that will make this health coaching thing a viable part-time job for me. I would love to be able to like go down to like 70% and work 3 days in the office and 2 days for myself type of a thing. That would be awesome. So I'm considering, for example, like developing my own programs and my own workshops, of course, not right away, but soon. And then I would be able to sell that content to other coaches, which I've seen done online. And I think that's a really great way to help other health coaches who are not really great in content generation, or their strong suit is really the coaching side and not the marketing side. And I think when you have these kind of pre-made programs that you can tweak later on, I think that's a really great way to move forward. And also, maybe a health coach only buys 1 or 2 of these programs before they see, okay, this is a good system, this is how it works, and they start to exchange their own content but kind of keep the structure. So I think this is a good way to bring in a little extra money on the side. There is, of course, and should be the primary focus to start with, is one-on-one clients. Also, there's group sessions, which you can do in person or online. I would like to hold workshops and retreats where we can go deeper into wellness topics. There is also the possibility to work with corporations to either present health-related topics or run a workshop or even design a program for the company's employees. So all of these different revenue streams, they take time though. And right now and in the foreseeable future, I will be working full-time at my regular job. So I will keep kind of working on these ideas on the side and developing new ideas. But the first thing I need to do is actually to start working with one-on-one clients to practice my coaching skills. So I think I need to make sure that that's my primary focus right now, the one-on-one client, going through several of these 6-month programs with different clients and seeing how I would like to refine my style. I think it's important to have those good roots before I start branching out in anything else. One of the things that Joshua Rosenthal, who's the founder of the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, says that the health coaches should walk the talk. So the Institute puts a lot of effort in teaching the coaches how to take care of ourselves, basically health coaching us while we're learning how to health coach. So it makes no sense when you want to serve others and you're burnt out, or you get burnt out by serving others. This is not a good idea. So therefore, I'm trying a lot of new things. And one of the things that I've tried is acupuncture. It's one of those things that I've never really, it was like, oh, that sounds interesting to try, but never really had a reason. There happens to be next door a traditional Chinese medicine clinic next to us. And I just happened to have a pain in my shoulder that would not go away. So I scheduled an appointment for the acupuncturist, and I will, just to try it out to see, what is it like. Before I went to the appointment, I did a little bit of research to see what it was like, so I wouldn't be caught wondering what was going on. I'm really glad that I did that, and I would suggest even if you do that in a place where you speak the language, you should do that so you know what to expect. In this case, the doctor spoke only Mandarin and German, and the assistant spoke Mandarin, German, and English. So even though I can speak German, I couldn't understand their German very well, and her English also had a heavy accent. But in general, between the German and the English and the Mandarin, we were able to kind of get through the session. So that was an interesting experience, because typically in Switzerland, I only go to see doctors that can speak to me in English. Let me walk you through what the session was like for me. So first I explained to them where the pain was and how long I had had it. It had been about 3 weeks at that point since I'd had it. Then while they were taking my pulse, they asked to look at my tongue. And then told me they would first do massage. Of course, they asked a lot of questions in between. I'm kind of glossing over this. There was a little bit of discussion, does it look, how does it hurt here? And does it hurt there? And does it hurt when you do this? So there was a lot of in between. And then at the end, they said, okay, we will do first the massage, then you do acupuncture, and then you do cupping. So I took off my clothes, except for my underwear and bra, and you hop on the table face down. Then they kind of undo the bra so my back is clean or clears, but then you're not walking around topless. So the massage was interesting for 2 reasons. So I've had many massages before, but this one was super rough, super rough. Now I can take a lot of rough, but it was pretty rough, but it was within reason. The second reason that it was a new experience for me was that he massaged through a towel or a cloth. So there was no need for oil or any kind of lubricant during the massage. So that was also interesting for me to have that kind of massage. And I'm not sure if those two things combined, the roughness and the cloth, made it feel more intense. But he was really going at it. I mean, he was really massaging. So after the massage, so it took maybe 5 or 7 minutes, then he wiped the spots for the acupuncture with alcohol. And this was really handy to kind of know approximately all the spots where all the needles were going. Then he put the needles in, which didn't hurt, just a tiny little prick. And then literally I couldn't feel it anymore after that. Assuming you don't move, right? My second time, I had one in my forearm, and I moved my arm, and it was in the muscle, so of course then I felt it. That was a weird sensation, and I stopped moving then. So after all the needles were in, I just kind of laid there face down for 30 minutes. Then they, when they removed them, there was another little small prick when they removed them. And then very quickly, they applied approximately 15 glass cups to my back. And this is a very interesting sensation. My whole back is kind of getting sucked into the glass jars. So if you're not sure, you don't know what cupping is like, they take a flame and they stick it inside the cup to burn to use the oxygen that's in the cup, use the air, and then they put it quickly on your back. And then there's a vacuum, and your back and your muscles and everything gets sucked up into this glass. I have like 15 or 20 of these things on my back. And they only stay on for like 5 minutes, and then it's like pop, 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 pop. They like take them all off. The whole process didn't hurt. Like I said, it was very interesting, but I was always assuming there would be like a little bit of heat because of the flame, but not at all. There's no warmth at all about it. And yeah, of course, now I have these huge spots all over my back. I think Michael Phelps had some over his back during one of the Olympics or whatever. So if you're not sure what cupping is, you might remember that from the Olympics. So after the cupping was done, then the doctor did some spinal corrections, basically exactly like what my chiropractor would do. So a twist and a pop, twist and pop. He did my neck, turned me over. It was very well done, exactly like what my chiropractor would do. The effects were pretty good. The first day I was able to work from home, and I had my blanket on my back to keep it nice and warm, which is what they said I should do. I did have a reduction in shoulder pain, but it didn't go away completely. And I'm not sure if it was from that or just because it had been time, it was going away. I went back the next week for a repeat session, and they basically did almost the same thing, but then at the end, they also did wet cupping, which is where they prick your skin a few times, and basically then they're drawing out a little bit of blood. I'm not really sure how I feel about this or really what the purpose is. It feels like a little bit of ancientness with like slug or leeches and leaching blood out. I think I just need to read more about what that was. And that was probably the only thing that really, really hurt, was that pricking of the skin before they put the cups on. And he didn't do it for all of them, just a few of them. So I'm, again, curious what the point is, and I just need to research that a little bit more. So I'm going to go again, probably this time I'm going to go in the afternoon so I can rest and relax after the session and not have to run to work. But otherwise, I think if you have a need, you could try it out. I'm also interested in looking into acupuncture for my hay fever because I absolutely hate taking medication for this. So more about what I'm doing on the side. One, I've been struggling a little bit with my food. This is... just because you become a health coach doesn't mean you've got it all nailed down, but I'm trying. I started to see like patterns of my eating behavior. So when I'm busy and I don't plan, I tend to eat more, and I tend to eat the things I don't really want to eat, but like to eat. I'm also trying to kind of map my eating to more of my hormonal cycle and moon cycle. And I know that sounds like hoo-hoo-hoo, but, or woo-woo, but honestly, there is a big difference. I was just reading about like even taking your medication at a certain time of day, and with all of the cycles, the circadian rhythm, the seasonal rhythm, the tidal lunar rhythms and things like that. And they really do have a big impact on your body and your life if you can do things, even growing your vegetables. If you plant your vegetables at a certain time in the moon phases, you'll have better crops. So it's quite interesting to read about this. In general, I'm trying to keep track of more things like my hay fever symptoms relative to the pollen count, for example. And I also kind of want to really balance my food choices with the desire to kind of eat out with my friends throughout the week. So I find eating out with my friends is a really great release for me. I enjoy that. It's an hour of uninterrupted time that I can have with a friend. But I tend to eat not very well, I think. So in the summer, it's easier because we can go to a park and eat, and we can bring our own lunch or whatever. But in the winter, that doesn't really work very well. So as a kind of reset or restart, which, I think I will always have to do a reset because, your habits do fade after a while. I will be doing another elimination diet round of Whole30. I did this a couple years ago, and it was absolutely fantastic. It's very helpful for me to have a structure with the meal planning and also the guidelines. If I have rules to follow, then I will follow them. Another thing I'm trying to do more regularly is meditation. So I'm using the Headspace app, and I'm doing different types of meditation in the morning. Currently, I'm working through a pack that's for helping you focus. I enjoy a lot this time in the morning. I have my nice space and I sit down and I have that 10 or 15 minutes to myself and, really just listen to the guided meditation and go through it. I'm not great at meditation. Yesterday we did a meditation with Deepak Chopra in this lecture I went to, and I totally fell asleep. But it was like 30 minutes, and it was way longer than I was used to. And I didn't sleep well the night before. See, nothing's perfect, people. You just got to keep trying your best. So I knew I was tired, so last night I slept longer. So the last thing I want to leave you with is that I have signed up for an additional course with IIN. This is an advanced course on gut health, and I am super excited about this because I would love to learn more about the gut and how it works, and specifically what you can do to check your gut health. And if your gut health is not good, what can you do to fix it? A lot of diseases and things are caused by eating, inflammatory foods. The inflammatory foods react with your gut. Your gut can have leaky gut or other symptoms, and then this causes more chronic issues. So I think a lot of things stem around the gut, and I'm very excited to do that course. It's a 24 module course rather than the regular health coaching is 40 modules, and it runs from May to November. So I will be keeping you posted in these episodes as well for that gut health course. I'm super excited. If you have any questions or would just like to tell me that you're listening to the podcast, please send me an email to becomingahealthcoach@gmail.com, or you can pop over to mybestself.fit and leave a comment in the show notes for each episode. Either way, I would really love to hear from you. I absolutely enjoy getting listener emails. It's fantastic. If you want to make sure you don't miss an episode, you can always subscribe, either using Apple Podcasts if you use Apple Podcasts, or you can also subscribe by following my site, mybestself.fit, and then you'll be notified when I have a new episode posting, and you can stay in touch. So until next time, stay happy and healthy. Hey, you're still listening. Great. Okay, now I can tell you about my 12-week goal setting session. So in this 1-hour session, I'm going to help guide you through a powerful process inspired by the best-selling book, The 12-Week Year. I know everybody at this time of the year starts to think about year-long goals. And I would argue that year-long goals are really hard to contextualize. What is going to be happening in a year from now? You have no idea. But 12 weeks gives you a little bit better understanding because you kind of already have your calendar booked out for the next 12 weeks, kind of know what's going to be going on. So if you can focus your goals on the next 12 weeks, you can make some really big actionable steps towards your long-term vision. So in this 1-hour session, we do talk about long-term vision. We talk about where you want to be. We talk about what your 5-year, 10-year, 3-year, all those goals are. But that's only a brief part. We know we see the long distance view, but let's break that down. And then we get into the 1 to 3 strategic 12-week goals that are going to get you to those long-term vision. Then we're going to put that into a really cool action plan with like checklists and timing and all that jazz to make sure that you are clear and that you have accountability to get those goals done. And then that's not it. Then we are going to tackle your roadblocks because you have roadblocks. So we're going to tackle those roadblocks. We're going to create a plan to overcome them. So when you start to self-sabotage, what you can do to get around those roadblocks. Okay, so if this is interesting for you, it is only 1 hour of your time and it's only 45 Swiss francs. I host this gig over on Fiverr, but I'm also going to put a link down in the show notes. So if you're interested, hit me up.